This webinar is being recorded, and this webinar can be viewed even after the date of this program. So I'll first introduce our eminent professional who has joined with us to take us through this journey. Yes, Mr. Deepa Edirisooriya. He is responsible for the overall leadership in the solution delivery for digital financial services of National Development Bank. So it's a big responsibility that he basically executes. So despite all these big schedule and big responsibilities, on a banking holiday, he agreed to give a time slot for Isaka team to share his wisdom. Apart from that, actually, he works, within his role, he works very closely with the directors of the bank, internal other stakeholders, external vendors, and also certain regulatory requirements. He has to take the primary responsibilities on behalf of the organization's digital financial services. So I have personally seen the level of engagement of Deepa with his team to motivate them and get the best out of them. Because as far as I know, the Deepa has mentioned mobile first approach is his rule of thumb for any customer digital solution. Because today it's a game that we play with the mobile. So that's for sure. So mobile is the future, mobile will be the future, and all of our other devices will come to the mobile in time to come. So when we have the expert, I will not take much of a time, but I need to tell a little bit of Deepa's educational background also for you all to get an understanding. He's a all boy from Rahul College, Goal. So he has obtained his first degree in as a BSc Honours from University of Greenwich. On top of it, he has a Master of Business Administration from University of Cardiff Metropolitan. So he has been invited as a regular visiting lecturer for a lot of renowned forums, plus business schools in Sri Lanka like NIBM, East of Business School. So in this journey, I know that Deepa is building the next generation. So team, I'm inviting all of you to join for the today's topic, cracking the code, digital transformation, Unwrapped. I will not going to introduce this subject matter because when Deepa is here, it's my duty to introduce my good friend Deepa to all of you. So let's go through this journey and see what we can get, and collect your questions also for you all to ask. I have also collected some few questions. So let's hear what Deepa has to say. Deepa, over to you. You can do the sharing and take chat.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Indika, for that lovely introduction. So let me quickly, share my screen before, without taking much time on that. Hope I'm audible and you can see my screen as well.
Yes, yes, Deepa. From
right.
my end, yes.
Great. So I think as Indika said, I think it's all about like changing the customer's value proposition, and through that I think we need to create some value. So that is what we are trying to do at NDB Bank, as well as that is what we are trying to do as a banking community as well, I believe. So just quick introduction about today's topic, why we are saying digital transformation, right? What is digital transformation? Because everybody is having a different, or maybe a few different ideas about digital transformation altogether. Maybe some people will say digital transformation is about adding a little bit of technology to what we do here and there, and maybe some people will say it's all about enabling or creating value to the end customer, and some of the others will think also that it's all about presenting our products in more a different way or more engaging way to the customer. And have a look at all of these opinions, right? What I believe and what I think the the digital transformation is all about, creating value, because end of the day, we are trying to serve a customer. It can be a customer who's working as an internal employee, or it can be a customer who's working as, at a very lower level in your hierarchy, or it can be the topmost managerial person like the CEO or the board of directors as well. Or maybe in another way, this entire engagement is all about, creating certain value to your end customers. That means your customers who are dealing with you in and day out, your real customers who you are engaging with your business. Because end of the day, all of us, we are working for organizations who are trying to either create a product or sell a product, or maybe sell a service to a certain set of people. So they will become our customers. So my version of digital banking is that, or digital transformation rather, is all about providing a valuable content or rich content. And maybe let's look at the monetization pillar a little late, rather than, bringing why most of the organizations, they fail to harness the real potential of digital transformation, is that they are trying to, bring in the monetization pillar at the very beginning itself. So the our version is little bit different to that. So what we believe in is a journey that will create certain value to the end customer. So that is my story, and I'm here today to share my story with you, the way that we think what is digital transformation as a whole. So before we getting into, the subject matter, I would love to, just give a very high level brief about myself. I think in addition to what Indika has, shared already. So as you can see in my profile, I've been, in the digital transformation since its very inception, somewhere around, 2008 to 2009 range. At Nations Trust, I started the digital transformation projects at Nations Trust as well, and totally more than little a decade. So I've worked at Nations Trust delivering digital transformation project like the mobile transformation journey that the NTB has gone through, from the nation's mobile app to FreeMe, the digital bank. And in 2017, I've joined NDB, and at NDB, I've started enrolling, transforming digital products, and we were fortunate enough to, gift something valuable to the market, such as NDB Neos, which is an all-in-one platform for entire, customer value creation. So through these innovations, what we are trying to do is to grab market attention and make customers' life a little easy for them to interact with banking. And we are not only, targeting the tech savvy or the Western province kind of a, customer set of customers, but we also target rural engagements, and we have certain digital products which are solely focusing on these unbanked and underbanked segments as well. So that's a bit of about myself and what we have been doing for the past few years. And for today, actually, today it's a different journey that I want to take you through, a different engaging journey as well. And I have set the context to 4 different pillars. First and foremost, what is digital transformation? As per my understanding, and hopefully you would agree with me on that. And what are the key drivers of digital transformation, and why the companies are so much given focus about this digital transformation as a practice. So we want to discover that as well. And not only that, every journey it's not a cakewalk or a very rosy picture that we want to portray, right? So we will face many challenges when we initiate transformation projects, and not only challenges, there will be certain roadblocks as well. It can be a local roadblock, or it can be a regulatory roadblock as well. So we want to find out what are these roadblocks that are challenging the digital journeys that the organizations undertake, and why most organizations they are, I mean, unable to, carry out with the intended objectives because of these challenges. So we want to explore a little into that as well. And as well, um, what are the strategies? So many companies they employ different strategies for a transformation project. And out of these strategies, there are certain significant or key ideas that we need to, that outlines rest of the uh, whatever the strategies that we build in terms of delivering a successful transformation project. So as what I have learned throughout these years, I will try to, convey or take you through what are these strategies that we have used at NDB, and in order to, providing a value to end customers. So that is what we have um, in store for today. And the most significant part is to understand the digital transformation, because many of the companies or organizations or individuals they try to um, do digital transformation or carry out digital transformation without really understand what digital transformation is all about, and how digital transformation can be seen in different angles or different viewpoints in terms of getting organization creating value for the end customer, as well as creating value for the organization uh, doing this taking this transformational journey. So what is this digital transformation is all about? So as per my understanding, and as per what we have seen in the market, so I have identified few areas in terms of what is digitalization is all about, or what is digital transformation is all about. So the first pillar, or the most important two pillars, is the holistic integration. So if you are an organization transforming digital won't, I mean, most of the organizations they do transform the digital aspects in terms of delivering value through the form factor digitalization. So they try to, I mean, have a very nice user interface for their mobile apps, or very for their website they want to have a beautiful screens. So they think that that is digitalization, right? And some of the organization they think that every customer is the same, right? And they're trying to, I mean, they're trying to provide all the customer with one generic solution. So that is some of the, I mean, things that we have seen in the industry as well. So the first pillar, the holistic integration, is all about not only, I mean, digitalizing the form factor, but also, I mean, think the organization as a one particular entity, and take the digital transformation from end to end as a journey. So I will be having more details on the coming slides as well. And on the customer centric, so the digital transformation can be seen as a tool that will create customer centric design or customer centric approach of delivery. And in the customer centric approach, we entail the end customer's journey into the process, as well as their vision, what they want to get out of the organization. So that is being kept at the very center of the design. So we will have certain more details about that in the coming slides as well. So in the interest of time, I have only taken the holistic integration and customer centric design into a little bit of a deeper understanding, I mean, for you guys. But it's worthwhile mentioning the operational strategy, I mean, operational efficiency that the digital transformation will bring in as part of the transformational journey. So why we do digital transformation is to, I mean, make our practice a better one. So that is what mean by the operational excellence. And also digital transformation can be seen as as a catalyst for innovation. So we do most of innovation, and we think the innovation is all about, creating or implementing $1 million software. But most sophisticated solutions are coming with a very simple idea. So the idea is all about having not sophisticated solutions but a valuable solutions for the end customer. So that is where the innovation pillar comes in. And not only that, the digital transformation is all about gathering more insights about your customer. So we as an organization, we would love to know more about our customers, what they do, what sort of activities they engage in, and what sort of things that they would love to have from the perspective of the delivery of products from the organizational end. And many of the digital transformation projects, they will not be successful without a little bit of a cultural dimensional shift. Cultural shift is much more important, because why? Unless we embrace the digital transformation as a culture, or embed digital transformation into our DNA of the organization, we will not be able to successfully deliver value to the end customer, because then the individual propagandas or individual ideas will overtake the overall digital transformation effort that the team is making. So it's important for us, to remember digital transformation as a cultural shift as well. And also, all of our organizations, we love to be in the cutting edge, or we love to be the top of the mind brand. So how to be the top of the mind brand is the $1 million question that everybody, or every CEO in the bank, or every CEO in any organizations will have in their mindset. So in very plain layman terms, the digital transformation, if you really set the course for the right direction, it can take your company into a trajectory where your competitions would not be even able to grasp the real catching up, do the catching up for the at least for a good 2 to 3 years. So that's where you bring real value of competitive advantage to your organizations by implementing or considering a digital transformation as a tool for your competitive advantage. So while all of these things are very nice to see and very intriguing, it's all about one particular thing stand out from the rest of these items, which is the holistic integration and the customer centricity. So we will go into little depth and try to understand what is this holistic integration is all about. So when talking about holistic integrations, actually there can be three types of things which can probably come into your mind, or maybe you can comprehend three different pillars, right? First one is the comprehensive technology. Yes, technology is utmost important. Without technology, the transformation you might not be able to harness the full potential of the transformation journey. And the second pillar is all about data. How you manage data, how you store data, and how you harness the full potential of data. And the buzzword is all about big data analysis and all these things. But we have to be very careful and very mindful about what sort of decisions that we will make out of this data, and what sort of decisions that stand out in generating a competitive advantage through a holistic integration from top to bottom of the organization. And also, a holistic integration is all about having a managed cultural shift. So through that, what you can do is you can become a more agile organization, because when you have a mindset which is having a top of the mind digital transformational journey for any organization, it's pretty much important to have that cultural change from the top to bottom. And how you do that is through communicating all these digitalization journeys, because people, they would understand, most of the people, they would understand digitalization as a threat to their own work. Because why? People, as human beings, right, we are pretty much confident and comfortable in the same status that we are in today. But when you're seeing somebody is challenging your status quo, it's pretty much difficult, or the nature of the humans are that we will defend, we will be offended first, and then we will try to defend ourselves in terms of, creating a little bit of roadblocks on our mind itself to resist the change. So it's important for us to make sure that we manage the cultural shift, and we manage the change of technology, and how we comprehend the change of technology is through understanding of data and understanding our customer. So the understanding of customer is much more important, and that has to be done through holistically, not only the form factor. We need to make sure whatever we deliver in the form factors has to be involved or invoked as a complete straight through process in the back office as well. So that's what Uber has done it. That is the holistic change that the Netflix has brought in to the ecosystem. So before Uber, what we've been doing, I believe every one of you has taken a tuk-tuk or a taxi before Uber as well, right? But why we don't use these conventional taxi companies, and why we are compelled, or the, why is it the top of the mind brand for us, Uber or PickMe? Because they brought in end-to-end digitization. Not only the ordering of the taxi, because ordering of the taxi was there even before Uber. But what they have brought in was they have connected all these pillars of digitization together. So they have changed the technology, they have changed the cultural or the mind shift of the people who have used the change the perception about transformation. And how they did it using data. So when they have, as bankers, right, we are sitting on a gold mine of data, and many of the organizations you guys know. But when we use this data for the betterment of understanding of the customer, that is where we really generate value to the end customer. So when they see the value, the end customer sees the value, that's where you get the market attention. So that's where Uber, PickMe, uh, Grab, that's where they got the market attention. Because why? They have end-to-end cover the holistic user journey of a customer to generate value. So that creates value for me. So I will start using the Uber or PickMe mobile app. So that's why it is important for us to map all the aspect of the organizational hierarchy. When you want to digitize a process, it's not only the form factor, because many of the organizations, they fail. They will have a beautiful website, or they will have a mobile app, or they do have a front end automation. But eventually what happens is they will have a legacy backend which is having so many manual processes, which will hinder the performance that you have gained through the front ends. So that is the problem that many organizations are facing. And uh, as I mentioned earlier, the entire thing is delivering value to the end customer, as I mentioned earlier. So customers, not every customer is the same, right? Customers, we people, we are different people. From myself to Indika to a different person, we all are different individuals. So we have different requirements, and we have different ways and means of absorbing technology. And not only absorbing technology, but interacting with technology most importantly. Because some of the people which we have come across, they are pretty tech savvy, but they are not willing to use banking on their mobile devices, because there are so many other things other than the tech savviness. Why these people are not using the mobile banking kind of an environment, or engagement? Because why? The banks or digitalization efforts has not understood the customers well enough. We have not gone to the level of understanding, having a greater understanding or a deeper understanding about the customer. So we want to know what exactly they require. So have we done that? So what are the mechanisms that we can use for this in order to understand, have a greater understanding about our customers? So one good method that we use at NDB is time to time we do customer surveys, end customer surveys. So we do two types of surveys actually. One is that we do internal surveys using a questionnaire, and in the other hand, what we do is we do questionnaires plus a focus group discussion with sample of customers to understand what exactly they expect from the banks. When we try to do a new product in terms of digital, I will not say banking product because NDB is a digital bank and we present digital products. So any product in the bank, we go through a process called deep customer understanding, and how we do that is through having a greater understanding process using focus group discussion. So we invite certain people, and these people are not, I mean, from the very wealthy set of people or high net worth individuals, but they are from a mix of customers, because every customer has a story to tell. This is how I want digital transformation. This is how I want digital. And the most important thing, they will not tell us this is how I need digital transformation. But what they will tell is, they will tell this is how I want banking in the future. This is how I want this organization to be serving me in the future. So that is the level of understanding that we need to uh, take through. I mean, beforehand we deliver a digital product. And also we need to make sure that we understand that the different flavors of customer perceptions are existing in the environment as well. So that is what we call the personalization. Because the way that I prefer digitalization, or the way that I prefer to get a service, is not the same way that you would prefer to get the service as well. So we have to, I mean, have the empathy and try to understand the different perspectives that the different customers are bringing into the table as well. So the digital solutions should be not only a generic solution that you would, give as a product, but it's a service that a person will enjoy or cherish. So we need to make sure whatever the solutions that we provide are meaningful for each and every individual. So there has to be certain meaning behind the digitalization effort that we take through as an organization as well. So what are the things that we do as part of the understanding digital or maybe requirement for digitalization? So we go through a process called understanding user through user-centered design. So user-centered design is a process that we employ in order to understand how and what the customers are think about, what their motives are, what their feelings about banking, and what their feelings about digitalization effort that we have undertaken, whether our way of digitalization is uh, okay for them, or whether we can do certain improvements on that. So that is what we have been doing. This the UCD, or the user-centered design principle, allows us to understand the customer insights in a much more insightful manner. So we get the users involved, as I mentioned earlier. We get their feedback through questionnaires, through focus group. Both quantitative and qualitative information is much more vital for us to understand the generic information and the detailed nitty-gritties. So the detailed nitty-gritties, how we find is through a specified focus group discussion. And it's much more important that when you think about a focus group discussion, it's not all about how many questions that you ask from the customer. So that is not the way. That is a question actually. So in a focus group, what you do is you will have only few very focused questions, and you will not directly ask from the customer what you need as digitalization, or what you need as a digital banking product, or what you need as um, a service or a banking technology. So I'm always relating banking because that is where we come from. So that is much more closer to me. So in a focus group, what the key idea is, try to probe into what customer wants are, and probably try to understand what customer needs are through probing into what they need. So let the customer talks about what their experience is. So it's not about framing and putting a frame and taking the ideas out from the customers through that framework. It's all about giving a free hand availability for the customer to express their own ideas. So as a moderator in this discussion, you should never ever limit or give your opinion while you're posing a question to the customer. So then they would not give the 100% correct outcome that you would want to get from the customer in order to understand the real sentiment behind their actions. And this is not a one-time activity, guys, as I mentioned earlier. So you do a product, you go through this cycle once, and if you forget about the digital transformation effort, then thereafter, then that is the place that you would fail in terms of delivering digital excellence to your customer. So this is an iterative process. This is a engaging and a repeating process. You need to do multiple cycles of this until you sunset the product. So you will take this as an iterative approach. You do the product, you get the first set of ideas, you take these ideas into a workable solution, and you take this cycle again and again until you refine and find the correct balance between the user expectation and what you can deliver. Because users may expect 100 things, but eventually with the constraint that we have in the market, you won't be able to deliver the entire 100 items, right? So that's where we need to, as a conscious decision, we as an organization, that's where we would understand and we would step in and try to have a kind of a methodology, try to understand what we can deliver now, what we can deliver later, and what we put it to the roadmap as well. So that should be the development approach, or creating the product itself has to be very agile and iterative product as well. So when you do so, how you verify that whether these products are the exact data or exact requirement that the customer needs. So that's where you bring in early adopters. So that's where we run pilot projects like beta testing, whereas to understand the customer whether the requirement that we have understood is the same exact requirement that the customer has given us. So always running a beta track would be advantageous, because it's free of charge advice from your customers. Try to get their consent, try to get their ideas through a product before we mass scaling, taking to the masses. So that is much more important. And this historical data or the collected data would be important, and this will make sure that our future product developments will follow the same sort of processes, and whatever the data that we have collected, maybe that data will help us to refine the focus group discussions or the way that we ask the questions next time. That is all about user-centered design, and these are the key principles basically. And what are the things that to do as part of this user-centered design is much more vital as well, because as I mentioned earlier, the principles are all about providing a framework of activities, but how we would take the product is a different story altogether. So as I mentioned earlier, you need to comprehend and understand what customer requirements are. So you do the research based on that. So that is where you get the real customer insights from. And not only that, but also you design according to these requirements that you have captured. So that's there the designing phase comes in. That's where your wireframes, that's where your dummy screens, and that's where all your design work comes into play. And if you can build a real prototype, that would be the most important engagement, that because there is a very tangible product where the users can use it and give your feedback as well. So that is where your beta testing maybe, or early testing maybe can come into play. And the not only the UAT, right? We do a lot of UATs, but are we really focusing on whether this piece of software that we create is not about always having a kind of a test script running, and whether the test script get passed or not, but actually whether this product can be used in for the customer for the betterment, or whether the product itself is creating a real value to the end customer, whether these journeys that we have mapped out, whether they generate real value to the customer. So that is where we get the feedback, and we go through an iteration of product, and we go back to the design board if required, and we test it again, and when you refine the product altogether, that's where you really implement the solution. So that is the user-centered design approach for any digital product that we undertake on behalf of the transformational journey. And implementation itself will not be the final step in your process. So many organizations, many project managers, many transformational leaders, they think that when you implement your product, that is where you end the project, but that is not. Where you end the project is you have to evaluate your product when you put that product to the production. So when you put the solutions to solutions to production, that is where you will really get customers' feedback, whether these options are good, these options are not good, whether these options can be further improved. But this is not only for external products, external services that we create as a digital journey, but also this is something that we should do as part of our internal digitalization process as well. Why? External digitalization process, yes, many of the companies you would follow exactly these processes, but when you really do a project for internal stuff, you will cut short most of these products, most of these stages. Why? Because we think the internal digitalization is not that much important. But believe me, friends, that internal digitalization is much more important when you deliver an end-to-end digital product, or if you are to really become a digital organization, the end-to-end delivery is a must. So how you deliver end-to-end is through internal digitalization plus digitizing the form factor on the front end, or creating valuable content for your customers. So what makes the digital the buzzword in the market? What it really reflects? There was a finding by the BCG sometime back. So this is related to banking, of course. So in terms of banking, actually we have proven this in an internal survey as well some time back, that as for BCG, they say that when you offer a digital product or a digital, when you enable a digital customer, the engagement is 4 times a week, rather against a non-digital customer who will be acting, or who will be interacting with your bank just once a month. So when you really create a valuable product, yes, of course, the people will really embrace your digital product, and that is where you will really get the attention of the customer. And actually, this is a very proven method at NDB as well. We have seen when you have NDB Neos mobile app or online banking platform, there's much more interaction or much more available balances that you would maintain at NDB Bank when you have a digital way of transacting with the bank. Because as Brett King said in his book Banking 4.0, it's not all about a brick and mortar branches anymore. So it has become a part of your life journey. So people would uh, change their mindset. People have changed their mindset from a place to an event in their life, and they believe more than your core banking activities. They will believe in the utility that you provide. So the utility that provide is the mobile or the online banking platform that you provide as a bank. So when you have that sort of an engagement, yes, of course, that will create definitely the customer stickiness. So that is where we really grab the attention from the market, and that is where we definitely would love to, I mean, get the more benefits to the bank or the organization that is in hand, or the that we create value to the end customer as well. So one of the key drivers of digital transformation, because every organization, they're crazily, following digital transformation strategies. So I believe there are places that there are organizations that you have normal strategies and digital strategies as well. But I believe as a future organization, your overall strategy is your digital strategy, because that is the level of connectedness in the world now we are bringing in, because we are a very connected nation, we are a very connected race, I would believe. And as an organization, what you should have is not a strategy. You should have a digital strategy which will penetrate into the market, and which will take your product or the services that you being offered by your organization to the next level of that product. So we can't do that, without having correct or right set of people in the right places. So we need to have digital savvy leaders who are in place, who can, champion these activities and make sure that your digital transformation agenda is being properly vetted and properly being executed. And not only that, I think the building capabilities in the workforce is much more important, because people, that is part of the cultural shift that I've been talking about in the very first slides as well. Because when you empower the people to build capacity, build capabilities, then they would not, take these changes as a, you know, it's not a change to their status quo, because they are making the change. So building capability is much more important in a transformational journey as per our understanding. And so not only, I mean, building up capabilities, but also let the people, I mean, digital transformation is all about finding new ways of, improving the way that you operate. So we must, as a organization, or as a set of management, the organization must appreciate the fact that the new ways that the people would suggest, or the new innovations that they bring in, you embrace these innovations and you appreciate the fact that they brought in these innovations, not that a particular set of people, because the digital transformation is not all about a, a team or a particular set of people who will drive it, but it's an organizational wide process. Whereas the set of transformation jobs would come from the very bottom of the hierarchy. Maybe it can be from the top of the hierarchy as well, but it has to be a very organizational driven journey. Whereas new ways and finding out innovation or bringing innovations to the workforce is much more reliable, really important aspect of the digital transformation journey as well. And digital transformation is all about, changing the way that we work as well. So you can transform. It's not all about, having $1 million software being implemented. Sometimes it's all about having a simple upgrade to your existing tools and ways and means of, um dealing with day-to-day activities. So how you do that is uh, through understanding what process changes need to be done. Digital transformation alone, I mean, implementing a technology solution will not take you to the desired outcomes. So it's all about changing the way that you operate, changing the way that you see about the process. You look at it in the same thing in few different angles and try to understand what is the best angle that you can fit into a digital transformational journey. And then you take the process re-engineered thing, created that, apply that technology that is necessary, then that is where you would create valuable transformational content to the end customer. So this end customer, of course, as I mentioned earlier, it can be your internal stakeholders, or it can be your external customers as well. So as I mentioned earlier, there are so many hurdles that we want to take through, transforming an organization or implementing a digital transformational journey in an organization. Um, some things can be very people driven, or some things can be technology driven as well. And most of these challenges, we need to make sure that we embrace all of these, or we take all these challenges into account, and we come up with a strategy to overcome these challenges. So mainly, if you really will take about the roadblocks, many projects or many digital transformation strategies, they failed. Why? They failed because of they don't communicate properly, right? Or they don't manage the change management properly. Not the digital transformation they don't do correctly. They do the digital transformation correctly, but they don't consider that there is human aspect to the transformational journey. So lack of change management is the number one killer in your transformational journey, because if you don't do that properly, what will happen? You would expect nothing but failure. So, and of course, when it comes to banking and all the other organizations, of course, right, the complexity of the technology itself. So the complexity of the technology itself can be a challenging, because there are so many. When it comes to banking, you have ISO messaging, you have API security, you have to worry about the legacy banking systems, how much the banking can be stretched into a digital transformation journey. So all these complexities are hindering the aspect of the digital transformation as a whole. So these are the challenges that we need to find answer with a digital strategy. And you can have a best in class tools, best in class strategies, and best in class everything. But if you don't, if whatever the solutions that you come up with, that be not being communicated to the customer, or the adoption is, or the take up is low, right? So uh, the tools and means that you use to do take these digital transformation, and you make sure that the digital transformation is accepted and adopted. So you create tools, but if the tools are not being properly used, so that is where you're failing again. So that is where we need to have concurrent, a conversation with our users, where we train the users, where we make sure we give the insight that these tools and means are not for challenging your status quo. These are to help you in terms of delivering value to our end customer as an organization, and educating the customer about the processes and procedures that we have implemented newly. And with this implementation, these are the challenge, these are the opportunities that will create in terms of creating value in a customer journey. And uh, the main challenge, I would say, out of all these things is the challenge that we conclude digital transformation journeys at very early stages, because we don't take this as a continuous process. So that is one of the major challenges that we have seen in the market, because you would be a one-time success, and probably thereafter people just abandon the digital strategy or digital journey itself. They think that we are happy with the whatever the thing that we have implemented, and they are not continuously upgrade. So if you take many of the Sri Lankan banks, they have been one-time success in many angles, but they have not continued the momentum. we have not continued as a banking industry, we have not continued the momentum. When it comes to VKYC, when it comes to all these other new age technologies we have implemented, but how often that we have used these technologies, but how often that we have created more user journeys using these technologies, and the provisions from the Electronic Transaction Act, how we have entailed that into a particular user journey throughout the process of digitalization journey. And also in terms of delivering customer excellence, there are a few more hurdles are there, like properly understanding customer insights. Without understanding the customer insights, it's pretty difficult to create a solution. And I have seen many organizations, they follow and they're trying to cater to the wants of the customer. They're trying to go behind and cater to every customer need, every customer want, I would rather say. Because as Henry Ford once said, if you ask from the people, they would rather say what they want is a faster horse, right? So because if we don't understand what is the real requirement or the real need behind these wants, then we are trying to fail as well. So that is another roadblock that the many of the organizations, because they are trying to cater with all the weapons that they have, right? And they are trying to create a digital strategy or a digital journey for the customers by giving out every possible opportunity for the customer. But maybe it's not about having many options in the table, but maybe how these options will help to create a valuable customer journey. That is what our focus should be on. So as a matter of fact, how we enable this digital journey in a successful manner, or how we conclude the digital journey in a successful manner in order to take a correct successful transformational journey. I would say the most important aspect, as I mentioned earlier, is to understand the difference between the needs and the wants. Because many organizations, they fail to do this differentiation. Because of that, they failed big time. So it's much more important we understand the real need behind the want and cater to the want, and that's where you will bring out disruptive innovations into the market. Because if you go behind the wants, you will try to cater to everybody, and you will end up with delivering nothing into the market end of the day, because you're trying to go behind the wants, and the wants are different from individual. But if you really understand the need, right, and then you can bring out a new concept or a new way of doing the same process, that's where you will disrupt the market with a disruptive innovation. So when you go behind the needs, you will bring in some value to the market, value to the ecosystem, and value to the end customer. So when you do that, how we would do that is through understanding and delivering changes to the users and based on the user-centered design, right? So in that, what we should do is our core of activities should be focused on creating a simplified solution, because as I mentioned earlier, not the most expensive solutions will give the most intriguing outcome, but the most simpler solution will give you the most reliable outcome, plus the most value would be creating based on that. So whatever the solution that we create has to have consistent navigation patterns. So in most of the websites you have seen today, when you go into a particular page, there's no way of coming out, right? So has to be very consistent, and you have to have very coherent way of navigation being implemented in your solution. It can be a mobile app or it can be a web solution, but your navigation is key. That is where the customers would be frustrated if you can't deliver a proper. That's where most of the customers will abandon your product, because you don't have a proper way of navigating through your solution. And the second thing is, you disclose the information in a progressive manner. Not that, if I take an example, uh, when you want to, disclose the transactional information, not you, put out the entire month data, right? But you have kind of, implement a kind of a lazy loading kind of a mechanism. That's where you will bring in real power of the UI components into creating a user-centered design. And whatever we create has to have predictable interaction patterns, because when you stepping into a particular area, the next item should be very much confidently, customer should be able to grab that next option, and it should be a very no-brainer that the next immediate action should be very much visible to the end customer as well. And clear hierarchy and organization is all about providing, again, it's in line with the navigation, consistent navigation and patterns. Because why? When you have a clear organization hierarchy, when you go into a particular page, then there is a specific action to be done, and there is a way that I can come back to the home page. That is where you clearly define a hierarchy of organization in your digital solution. So because we should not confuse the customer at any stage of the solution delivery. And most of us, we forget about the search options, because we think that the customer should be able to scroll it up or scroll it down and try to get these data in whatever the format that he wants. But we give a search, but that search is not very intuitive. So the searching has to be very functionally integrating, and has to be very user friendly for the customers to use it. Then only your solutions would be grabbed by the attention of the customer. And the most important, but mostly what we are forgetting, is the accessibility considerations, right? We think that everybody is the same, and we don't provide much interactions for the disabled communities. So it's much more important for us to have this accessibility. And accessibility consideration is not all about providing accessibility to the disabled people, but also providing services to the people with a user-centric language. For an example, only fewer mobile apps in the market in terms of banking, they provide trilingual capabilities. So that is, because of that, we are losing whole lot of community who are not willing to trust a digital banking solution. Because why? We are failing to provide accessibility to these communities. And whatever we deliver, I hope that most of you might be joined us with today using mobile devices as well. So it's a no-brainer that digital transformation, the future of digital, is all about mobile, and the mobile should be our delivery channel. And everything that we should do, even it can be an internal service or it can be external service, has to be mobile first. So that is where we generate real stickiness in terms of usage and adaptability. And our design should not confuse the customer as well. Our design should be very minimalistic, and it should be very much understanding by the customer. So I met this three-wheel tuk-tuk driver some time back who's using PickMe mobile app, PickMe drivers app rather. And I'm asked whether you understand English, or whether do you understand, and this guy is about 50-55 years of age. And I was asking whether you understand how to use it, because I have seen many people who are afraid of putting their debit card or ATM card to the ATM device and withdraw. Because of using the lack of trust using the technology. So I've asked this guy again, are you confident in using this PickMe app, and why is it? So the answer was amazing, because why this person was much more convenient in using this mobile app was that PickMe app itself is having this color coded design where you go into a particular action, the next action is much more inherent kind of a action. So they understand, even though without looking at the textual content or the descriptive labels, they understand that by clicking on this color, you will either cancel or you will either accept. So that is the level of engagement that we need to take through. And of course, our solutions, we come up with errors and all these stuff in our solutions. We think that the end customer is also tech savvy. But most of the time, these end customers, they are not tech savvy. And to use digital banking or digital transformation solutions, you should not be tech savvy as well. You should not need to be tech savvy, because we are creating solutions for anybody to understand. So if we are creating solutions for anybody to understand, then your language should be universal as well. So it has to be a very user-centric and focused communication that you need to apply in your digital solutions. Whereas it creates a vibe around your solution that it entails trust. And as I mentioned, descriptive labels definitely will take you through the next stages in terms of delivering excellence as well. So as I mentioned earlier, designing for accessibility and inclusivity will definitely make sure that you are reaching out to a wider audience, and it will definitely reach upon to the heights of creating value for your organization, giving a positive experience, and then rather provide equal access to everybody, right? And most importantly, it will make sure that it future-proof your solution, because in Sri Lankan context, central bank is now bringing in accessibility considerations into banking. So we must, because in previous days it's just a matter of having a access to ATMs or branches for accessible disabled people. But nowadays it's evident that more focus is being given to these disabled or differently able people in accessing digital solutions as well. So but we were discussing about many aspects of digital solutions and digital solution implementation, right? So, and I believe most of you guys are coming from information security background or auditing background. So I thought of concluding the session by giving few things about digital transformation and the role of information security in terms of why we need to be considered about information security and what is the link between digital transformation and security. So I think, as many of you are aware, right? So we are in a connected environment. When you talk about digital transformation, it's a connected environment altogether. So there are so much of I think better than me, you would be able to explain that. So when you are connected, that means utmost vulnerability exists in the environment. So we have to make sure that we protect ourselves and our customers. It can be the end customers or the internal customers. So we have to have mechanisms embedded in our digital solutions or the transformation journey that entails the safety and security of the users who are using our solutions. And not only the connectivity, but the concern is all about privacy, because why we are using a lot of data, we are capturing a lot of data through when you provide a digital solution, and our data is stored securely, must be ensured thoroughly. So that's the approach that I believe many of you would have been familiar with as well, and that is where the digital transformation meets information security. So I think with that, I would love to have any questions from you guys. So that comes to an end to my presentation, and I'm more than happy to take any questions if there are.
Deepa, very informative. Yeah, Deepa, very informative session. So therefore, I'm very happy that you delivered it in a manner that bringing all the practical things that you have gone through, right? So, but at this point, I need to make a comment. The whatever Deepa brings in his personal exposures and these representations are not about a particular organization. So Deepa need to be giving the disclaimer rights also, being a professional, and all of you should take this experience sharing session with a professional way of understanding the experiences. So quoting the same whatever content from Deepa is, I think Deepa has agreed to give that liberty to all of you because this will uplift the community. So we have come to a point on question and answers. So what I'll do is these are the some of the questions that has come into play, or some of the questions that has come. Deepa, now the first question, and there was another question which I plugged it together. So the question was, what would be your agile opinion? So this may have certain boundaries for you to immediately express but you can give your opinion, right? That is why I mentioned the question needs to be answered in a disclaimer mode also. So in agile opinion, in order to hosting business critical information system in cloud infrastructure.
So,
Yeah. And also the second part is what would be the regulatory readiness in the island. So actually you mentioned two prompt points, right, in your presentation. You said we need to manage the change. The future is digital strategy. So I will leave it for you to give a answer from the generic content because you are not representing any legal authority here. So you can educate them how to look at it. That's what
thanks, Indika. What I'll do is I'll give my perspective in terms of what is out there in terms of cloud and how we embrace cloud in terms of delivering technology solution. So to give an answer to your question, the first one, I think number one and two both together, for me it's pretty much I would say the two different sides of the same coin. Yes, business critical information, I would believe there are certain challenges in terms of, I think, having they stored in cloud environment. Yes, they possess certain challenges because many of these cloud solution will be hosted on different geographical locations, and then what if the people might think that what if when you have no longer access to these geographical locations if due to some reason. So these are the challenges that you would face in terms of hosting your data in a different geographical location. First one is not maybe the non-availability of the solution, and maybe what will happen if the environment get compromised. So I believe these are the two primary reasons that even the regulator is looking at in a more controlled approach, right? But for me, I would say the threat is real, right? Threat is real. That's why you guys are there, right? So we assess the threat and we come up with countermeasures in order to minimize the risk, because we can't 100% avoid risk. So that's what we are doing as security professionals and solution specialists. What we are trying to do is we are trying to manage the risk in a manageable manner, and maybe try to secure ways and means of delivery. But in terms of being agile in digital transformation, I think it's much more important for us to go on cloud in the long term and making sure that we adopt appropriate security and information and cybersecurity mechanisms in order to deliver better protection to our customers. As I mentioned earlier, we are working with a lot of data, and when you talk about digital transformation, it's all about data. So when you it's like a very sharpened sword that you are carrying. That when you use the sword in a particular manner, that will definitely give you certain benefits to your customers, but in the long run, but if you, I mean, can't manage the sword properly, then you will obviously, you know, what other things that can happen as well. So my opinion would be that we have to be we have to take a very cautious approach, because cloud is something that which is the future, right? So everybody understand the cloud is the future, because that will give you in terms of, because when I create a solution, for an example, a mobile app. So assume that we have to bring in hardware for 120 million. We definitely can, bring in lot of day one cost saving in terms of if we go on cloud. So cloud is a must, but the approach should be very carefully thought through. And if you, I mean, to give an answer to your second part of the question, uh, as a country, yes, there are so much more things that we can do in as a cloud policy. We need to bring in as a cloud policy and try to protect the privacy of the customer. And not only that, also the ways and means what you can use, what not you can use. And if you are using cloud, what sort of a baseline security standard that you need to, I mean, follow. So these are things that the regulator and the regulation should be empowered with, and make sure that not only that, also the legal system has to brought into the speed of understanding this cutting edge technology and new ways and means of, you know, storing data and keeping data in a remote and different ways and means, rather than the traditional legacy server farms that we maintain at organizations. So I believe I have given you a proper answer, Indika.
Yes, Deepa, I think that is sufficient because if somebody wants to go into detail about the regulator readiness, the answer that I can give you from my exposure, adding to this, a lot of things are there, as you very clearly mentioned. People have to understand it and adapt safely. So with that note, I will move to the next question that has come from the team. Okay, the question number B.
Yeah. So I think digital.
Simple question. Digital transformation varies from automation.
Yeah, I think these are automation is all about, you know, creating, as I mentioned in my slide deck. Automation is all about, you know, just to, I mean, adapt technology, right? But digital transformation, as I mentioned earlier, it's about changing the way that we work. Automation is the same thing. That, for an example, if you are entering some data into your, you know, input as an inputter, but the same thing can be done by a automated bot or somebody. But the transformation or digital transformation is all about, capturing the way that we capture the information, the relevant information being captured, whether are we capturing the relevant information from the customer, or whether can we bring in more value to the process. For an example, most of us, we have filled many forms in our lifetimes, right? So in all of those forms, there's a particular place that you enter your name, your NIC number, your gender, your age, and all of these things, right? But automation is all about, you know, capture that into a particular form and maybe input that through a digital, sorry, a bot or kind of a thing like that. But in transformation, what we do is we don't ask the irrelevant question, because when you have the NIC number, you can calculate the age, you can derive the gender, you can discover the date of birth. So that is the difference between transformation and automation in here.
Well answered, Deepa, because when you mentioned about practical example, only this would be shined and memorized by our team. So the third question, the question number C is mentioned here. I know that you covered this, that is for sure. What are the main causes of failure? You put it as challenges, right? So
yeah, I think the the primary cause of failure would be, you don't do digital transformation. That is, don't do digital transformation is that you do automation. That is where you fail. So transformation is all about, as I mentioned earlier, you transform the entire way of interacting. And why digital transformation projects are failing, why many products are failing in the market, because you're not creating value. You're not creating value to the end customer. There should be something that as a customer I should see in your process. When I don't see a value in your process, I will never ever use that particular service or product. Because if you take all of the banks, right, for the last 10 years, how many products the banks have launched, but how many products has embraced by the market? So that is the level of failure, and the failure is very much visible as well when you go through a digital transformation journey and not do the digital transformation as is. So the digital transformation is all about changing the way that you look at the problem as well. It's not about applying technology. It's about how you look at the way of looking at the problem, and then you can derive on a better solution for the end customer that will create value and that will create real connectivity with the customer. And the second part is the culture. Yes, the culture. As you have, I think in your respective organizations, you might have seen this as well. Because when you don't do the cultural change, or when you don't inculcate digital as a culture, right? When you don't inculcate the digital as a culture in your respective organization, what you would have is the people, or the people who are not part of the maybe the core transformational team, they would imagine, or they would think that the transformational journey is maybe a thing that some people and set of people need to do as on behalf of the organization. But the bigger picture is that digital transformation is a organizational wide process. So more or less same when you don't do the cultural management or managing the digital culture, because digital culture has to be embedded into the DNA of the organization. So that's where you will really harness the power of digital transformation.
Team, on behalf of all of you, these are the questions that we got from the participants. And in order to conclude the question and answer sessions, if you have any questions, I can give you another 1 or 2 minutes quickly if you can put it in the chat box. Until we get another 1 or 2 questions, I will ask a question from my good friend Deepa. Right, you have been in this value delivery area as a business practitioner. Okay, so if I put a particular term, what is digital trust mean for you?
I think very good question, Indika. The trust is where you will get attention from the market. So as I mentioned earlier, so I have seen people, I mean, not in Horopatana, not in Akaripattu, but people in Colombo who are very afraid of using digital solutions. Why? They would think that this is when you use these solutions, you would lose your money. That's what they are thinking, because going to the branch, signing on a paper, putting your signature there, they are very much comfortable, because the level of trust is not being embedded, because we have not ensured, or we have not communicated, rather. We have ensured maybe, but we have not communicated that our solutions or the utilities that we provide as the bank now, or the mobile app or the online banking facilities that we provide, or the ATMs, they are secured, and they are in part of the well-known security standards. We have not communicated that. So the trust is much more important. When you trust, people would embrace the technology. So I have not seen that is happening in the Sri Lankan context, because we are very much, bogged down by promoting our solutions, or maybe providing or bringing product content to the market, rather than giving less or very small focus on the security aspect, or the how safe these solutions are, or how safe these solutions will bring value to you. That is something that we as a community, I think, we need to do as well.
Thank you, Deepa, for those valuable insights on the last question, because ISACA is on a digital trust building journey. And today, on behalf of the ISACA community, I take this opportunity to thank Deepa for sharing not only the personal experiences and adding certain valuable insights for uplifting the people who have joined here. I'm pretty sure Deepa is available through the LinkedIn mode to communicate. Yeah. And also, if you all want any further clarifications, any further understandings on this, you can disturb Deepa, right? With respecting all his professional engagements, you can disturb. But I take that liberty to express to the community, so you all can get hold of Deepa for any advisory things. So I am pretty sure Deepa supports this kind of a community building initiatives a lot. So it was a fantastic session, because we obtained a lot of insight and more go into certain practical areas. So I extend my heartfelt thanks to Deepa for all these knowledge and the wisdom and the way forward. Most importantly, the way forward was the best message from Deepa. So if anybody doesn't have any other things to clarify and all, we can call the day off. Thank you for all the online participants, and this will be uploaded and shared accordingly. Give me a second. Chat has a small question. Right, there are certain questions about the CPE. So you all can directly communicate with your participation to the ISACA secretariat, and put an email and mention that you were here, and you can get the CPE uploading arrangement through the ISACA if you are a member. So others, if you need a participation certificate or whatever, directly contact secretariat. Those who are coming from the Institute of Chartered Accountants and other professional bodies, you can mention your professional body number and contact the ISACA secretariat for rest of the formalities. So Deepa, thank you very much. And all of you are joining.
I think, yeah. Thank you very much for inviting me and having me here. And please do connect with me on LinkedIn for any further clarification, or maybe for any other connectivities as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Deepa, and thank you all for joining us today.